Alright, so we're going to complete the square, and our trinomial is x squared plus 4x plus 1 equals 0. A few things you have to remember. The first thing is that the standard form for a trinomial is ax squared plus bx plus c, and the other formula that you need to know for today is parentheses b divided by 2 squared. That's going to help us to complete the square. I'll let your teacher derive for you where b over 2 squared is. I'm just going to give you that formula so you can understand how to do these problems. So the first step is we notice that our coefficient is a 1, it's a ghost 1, and in that case we don't have to do much else with it. So we can go ahead and move to completing the square. So step number 2, I'm going to subtract my constant term, which is 1. And watch what happens when I do that. 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. That allows me to have this blank space here. So now I'm going to complete the square. My b term is positive 4. And so when I complete the square, it's 4 divided by 2 squared, right? b divided by 2 squared, which is 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 2 squared is 4. So in this case, our b and once we complete the square is also 4. So here's what we're going to do with that. We are going to take 4 and we're going to add it to both sides of the equation. We want to keep it balanced. And then we're going to simplify. Negative 1 plus 4 is 3. Now, here's what makes life really easy. So we can now easily factor this into two binomials. So what two numbers multiply together to give me 4 that also add up to 4? So I think of my factors of 4. Well, 4 and 1, 2 and 2. Well, I know that 2 times 2 is 4, and 2 plus 2 is 4. So in that case, my factors is positive 2, positive 2. And it's called completing the square because now I can write this as a perfect square. So it's x plus 2 squared equals 3. And now I've completed the square, and what makes this easy, or the reason that we do this, is because now I can actually find the solutions. And if you remember, the solutions is where the parabola crosses the x-axis, also known as the zeros of the function. So to do that, and this is just a little extra piece I will show you off to the side here. I don't think you're going to have to do this for your teacher, but I'll show you for fun. Let me just erase this piece. If you want to find the solutions given our first step is you're going to take the opposite of the square, which is the square root, and what we do to the left side we have to do to the right side. Now a square and a square root are opposite operations, which means that we can cancel them and drop our parentheses. And then the last thing that we can do is we can subtract 2 from both sides. Now the one thing you have to remember is that when we take the square root, we get the positive and negative values. We know that because a parabola is symmetrical, and so it has both a positive and a negative value. And then we can subtract 2 to both sides. And so x equals the square root of 3 minus 2, and the negative square root of 3 minus 2. If you plug this in your calculator, you can get a decimal answer. Or if you go ahead and plug in this formula into your, this trinomial equation into your y equals, where y equals x squared plus 4x plus 1, and you graph it, you'll see that you get a symmetrical parabola, where these are the points that cross the x-axis.